Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Gonzii and today we're going to be reacting to another casual geographic video, this time called How Humanity Gave This Bird the Middle Finger, bro. Okay, let's go. Let's see, check this one out. You guys know how much I love casual geographic, so yeah, let's get it.
Oh my god, what is that?
Bro, that's not natural, dude.
What is that?
Nah.
No way they're gonna kill this pigeon.
No.
You definitely know who this
Pigeon
is and why he was an
suicide,
icon, but did you know there were at least two creatures that Jackie
Legend.
Jesus
Rest
was
in peace,
afraid
bro.
of? One,
That damn
hippos.
stingray.
No further explanation needed.
Makes sense.
But also, parrots. Yeah, the same Steve Irwin
Parrot,
that cuddled
bro?
crocodiles, got a hickey from a python on live TV and apologized to the python,
Damn.
and did this, was the same man that experienced legitimate fear in the face of an overgrown parakeet.
Wow.
And the crazy part is, that has nothing to do with this video.
Damn.
I really only brought that up to make my biggest fear sound less ridiculous. Because out of all the animals in the world, I've historically only been afraid of one. I've held 8-foot pythons when I was 6.
Mine is rats,
I had no
bro. I
problems with
cannot
the spiders in my
stand
house.
rats.
I've always had a soft spot for sharks. Yet the one
Rats.
animal that could stop me dead in my
Mouse in
tracks. Matter of
general,
fact,
bro.
just
No.
guess. What do y'all think I'm about to say?
Keep
Here's
yourself
an ad while
hydrated,
you
by the
grapple
way.
with that. Pigeons. It's always been pigeons. I
Pigeon.
can never fully explain it, but as
Rat
early
with
as I can
wings,
remember,
bro.
these bum doves put the fear of Dante's Inferno in every fiber of my vessel.
Damn.
There's two stories that sum up my feelings towards pigeons. As a kid, I could vaguely remember crossing the street with my dad when one of the spawns of avian antichrist popped out from under the car like a Five Nights at Freddy's jump scare.
Damn.
The way my dad likes to tell this story, apparently I recoiled so bad that I jumped back and nearly got turned into a speed bump by a passing van. There's an
Oh,
alternate
no.
universe where my irrational fear of pigeons cost my folks a dependent and had me heaven sent.
Yep.
So this is really more exposure therapy than an actual video, and the first step is understanding. There are a lot more types of pigeons than
That's
my
a
subconscious
cute
could
one.
ever curse me with. There's over 350 pallets of pigeons populating the planet.
Ew,
You got
I
the
didn't know
Victoria
that.
crowned pigeon,
Whoa.
the biggest bird on the roster whose headdress got it named after royalty.
Damn.
Then there's the Nicobar, the closest thing to a present-day dodo, and definitely the hypebeast flexor of the family.
Oh, that's
Can't forget the
beautiful.
Karuru, the
Nah.
New Zealand variant, famous for being a crippling alcoholic.
Nah.
As in, they'll get so hammered off fermented fruit that they legit forget how to fly.
Damn.
And you've probably heard the phrase turtle dove,
Bro's
especially this time of
wasted.
year. Well, today I found out that I apparently had no clue what they look like, or that they originated from the Middle East. A hop, skip, and an 8-hour flight to the Philippines, and you'll find a Luzon bleeding.
Shout out to the
pigeon
Philippines,
named
man.
For obvious
Shout
reasons.
out.
You got the silvery wood, the maroon pigeon, and the
Okay.
purple winged dove, all of which are in danger of being discontinued.
Eh.
And then you got the pigeons humans bred like dogs, which would easily make this the pug
Nah.
of poultry. It's like a pigeon
Why does
police
he
sketch
have
done by a
feathers in
kindergartner on
his
Adderall with no
claws,
prior
dude?
knowledge of anything bird. There's hundreds of breeds of pigeons, and the English powder might just be the nastiest work of all. Although the English carrier might just be a close second, because honestly, what in the
What is it?
what even is
Razor
this?
on his
What was the
eyes?
goal if this was the outcome? All those pigeon remixes go back to the OG, the rock dove, aka the main mugshot that comes up when you Google pigeon.
Yep.
And this is where I stopped hating and started learning. For
Okay.
example, the rock dove was originally
I live
only
right
found
there, for those who
here.
don't know.
Well, actually here
There.
in the dark red.
That
That's
little
right. Any
country
place
here.
outside this red
Right
is a place
there,
that will
actually.
uber the scourge of my
Yep.
soul. That includes what might as well be the pigeon capital of the world, New York City. So of course I just had to grow up 15 minutes from it.
Pigeon chillin'.
Apparently, pigeons first touched American soil in the early 1600s via Europeans. That means
Of
the
course.
flying city merchant is more natural to the Sahara Desert than to the streets of Manhattan. Which
Wow.
brings me to half the reason I'm making this video.
What's the
know
one
that.
thing you spend way too much time thinking about?
I think
Okay.
all the time about how we domesticated pigeons and then we decided we don't want to use them anymore for like messages. So they are completely reliant on humans. Have you ever seen like a nest of a pigeon?
No, and I didn't know we domesticated them either.
Yeah, their like nests are like 3 twigs and like the egg is just on the cold ground. So
Put
Because they don't know how to build a
some
nest because we
effort,
messed them
bro.
up.
yeah,
I did not know how to take this revelation, and after looking
Dang.
into it, she's half right. Pigeon nest is a meme as old
Look
as
at
time. This is
that.
really something only an animal with no access
Nah,
to birth
bro,
control
that's
could come up
sad.
with. It's heavy on the them kids before
Nah.
they're even born. At this point, it's like they're trying so hard not to try that it would literally
twig,
take less
bro.
effort to try. The
Oh
thing
my
is,
God.
they weren't named rock dove for nothing. In the wild, they
Oh.
normally raise their aesthetically challenged children on cliff ledges
Aesthetically
or crevices, which ended up
challenged,
being not
jeez.
that far off from where they shack up now.
That's
And as
an
long as the
insult,
ground's
bro.
flat and the egg doesn't roll away to become a late termination and an early onset omelet,
Yep.
this is really all they need. Minimalism for the win.
at that.
But the other point she made about us pretty much abandoning them, turns out it's pretty accurate. Which actually brings me to my second story. So I had spent the day walking around New York with my mom and was understandably starving. So hungry that we decided to get food from a street side meat vendor. The cardinal sin of the city, but we didn't know any better. The food was immediately off, but let's be honest, not enough for me to stop. I remember the meat tasting gamey and fatty and had this really strong aftertaste that I'd never experienced before. It wasn't until I was 2/3 done that I noticed a small cage halfway tucked under the stand. A small cage with maybe a dozen pigeons squirming around. It was at this moment I realized I was sold a chicken leg lie before I just ate some pigeon wings. Now that story is almost completely made up. But peep out just the idea of getting calories from a concrete chicken. Probably disgusted most of y'all. The thing is, pigeons are regularly eaten by people in a lot of places. Squab is a name for an immature prepubescent domestic pigeon, and it's considered a delicacy depending on where you stand. It shouldn't even really be a surprise because one thing about pigeons, they get violated by the entire food chain. I've seen with my eyes pigeons get absolutely bodied by a street-savvy Stuart Little. They somehow manage to find ways to take L's from turtles.
You cannot get caught by a turtle,
catfish that specializes in murking an animal that literally got gift-wrapped the ability to fly.
Catfish, bro.
And to add insult to injury, the fish is virtually blind. How do you fumble that bad?
How
Pretty
do you
much the
get
entire cast
put
over
on
the
the
hedge plays
poster like
population
that,
control
dude?
for pigeons. And
What's
we've all
up?
seen how pelicans conduct
Yeah.
themselves in pigeon presence.
Bro.
And humans were no different.
Pelicans
Food was one of
commit
the main
straight
reasons
war
pigeons
crimes
were added
against
to the
pigeons,
American
bro. It's
census.
disgusting.
Another reason was to employ them as messengers before iPhone became a thing.
Yeah, we did.
But another reason was for pets. There was a time when owning a pack of pigeons wasn't just normal.
My
It was a sign of
great-grandfather had
status.
pigeons.
If you had pigeons on your property, it
That's
meant
a
you were
fact.
probably doing well in life. Akbar the Great of the Mughal Empire had not one, but 2,000
He had
pigeons.
pigeons, rabbits,
that
bro.
is a comma. Make that 20,000
Cows,
pet
all of that.
pigeons.
But
But in
he
the
had
time
pigeons,
since,
bro.
hoarding pigeons went
Matic.
from a flex to something that guarantees you dirty looks on the subway. And that's thanks to one of the most egregious gaslight campaigns you've ever seen. In June 1966, New York Parks Commissioner Thomas Hogan
forehead
verbally
locked
eviscerated
in.
pigeons, blaming them for spreading filth and disease, and used a term you've definitely heard of, rats
That's with wings. Yep.
And just like that, the pigeon's reputation
No, bro,
went
it's
straight
not
to
worth
hell
it.
with no return
Nope.
trip. A couple things that are interesting though. In the same article, Mr. Hoving also blamed the homeless and homosexuals for bringing property value down.
Oh, dude's
he
a
also became the
dickhead.
commissioner
No
January
wonder your
16,
forehead was lacking,
1966,
big
and
man.
resigned March
Look at those
15
ears
of
as
the
well,
next
look
year.
like Dumbo
His
in
actual
that.
term was just over a
Idiot.
year, but the slander he tagged the Metro Tweety with was permanent.
Metro
Then
Tweety?
Woody Allen
It's a
dogpiled
beautiful
on them, and
name.
humanity has hated pigeons
Metro
ever
Tweety,
since.
bro. Awesome name.
They're rats with wings.
They're
It's kind of like
rats
how
with
Mark Twain
wings.
roasted coyotes so flagrantly, not
Oh,
only
yeah.
did it single-handedly earn them smoke from the public, it was directly responsible for the luckless
That's a
Looney
fact,
Tune.
I knew
That's
that.
not a throwaway joke either. Look up what Wile E. Coyote was based on. It's actually wild. But
It
thanks
is.
to these three words, the bird that was more common in royalty than marrying your cousin got typecast as the flying version of the animal whose
They're
hygiene
weird,
allegedly
though.
turned half the
Why are they
population into
shiny
a
with
hashtag.
colors and that?
I gotta say allegedly because new evidence
Get out, bro,
suggests
that's
that rats weren't even
disgusting.
responsible for the plague to begin with.
Rat, dude. Lion.
Pigeons
Why
got
always
lied on too because they're
lying?
nowhere near the disease risk we
Oh
labeled them
my
at. And
God.
I legitimately didn't know that
Stop
before researching.
fucking
They can carry
lying.
disease, but because of their immune system, it's actually rare for them to transmit them to people. I know.
Really?
I don't believe it either. It
Ah.
also turns out the glorified gutter tweety is actually resistant to bird flu. Now
Wow.
they still can catch you slipping,
I did
and
not
usually
know
the
that.
problems come from their lesser half. When pigeons drop deuces in one spot, it can dry up and eventually turn into
Disgusting.
dust. Breathe enough of that doo-doo dust, and you can end up with a nasty infection known as
Don't touch
bird
the
handler's
pigeon.
lung. But even then, it takes a lot. Like on some, you clean bird shit
Nah,
as a
nah,
hobby
nah.
for you to be
That's
exposed enough to be
sanitary,
down
dude.
bad. So yeah,
That
pigeons carry
stinks in there.
diseases, but
Yeah.
no more than any
Don't
other
get the
animal.
bird, though.
I mean, by that logic, humans carry disease, but we're still out here raw dogging handshakes.
That's
Dogs
true.
can carry disease, yet I still see people tongue kissing them. Deer are walking Airbnbs
That's
with
weird,
ticks,
but
peddling
true.
Lyme disease, and cats done infected half the people watching this.
That's a fact
Yet
as
pigeons
well.
are the ones that got tattooed as rodents with frequent flyer miles.
Dang.
Between 1941 and 2003, there have been 176 documented cases of pigeons passing off disease to a human. And again, it'd virtually take you being Buddy from that one Hey Arnold episode. You know what else I found out? Pigeons don't really spill sugar honey iced tea while flying. They 100%
Wow.
can, but since that could involve hitting their own feet, they prefer to do it on a perch. So it turns out the
Excuse me,
dirtiest
Jesus.
thing about pigeons is the way we've done
Those are
them,
beautiful,
which
bro.
actually sucks because once I started to work past my pigeon prejudice, I realized, I can't believe I'm about to say this, pigeons are low-key broken, like they're mad talented for no reason. Like for example, they're one of the fastest things with wings in the
Really?
world. Pigeons can fly at averages of 60 miles per hour, but can
Whoa.
peak out at nearly 100. There have even
Yo.
been stories of pigeons triggering speed cameras in streets.
Did not know that.
We don't really notice because one of their biggest ops also happens to be the fastest thing alive.
Bro, this video is mad. That bird right there got decapitated, bro. I'm not even joking. Right now, yeah, in that position, bro does not have a head, bro. Got decapitated by that falcon, bro. It's mad.
Which is how they can get packed up by a 200-mile-per-hour falcon punch. But pigeons still have the juice to dodge a peregrine and live to talk about it.
So
Put it
video
this
was
way,
disturbing,
the fastest
bro.
thing on Earth hunts pigeons.
Pigeon just
and even
walked
that's not
into
total
a
mismatch.
falcon's
And a
nest
good
and got
reason
killed,
is
bro.
another
Which is
superpower
wandering
we don't talk
around.
about. Their eyes. The only real self-defense pigeons
Oh my
practice
God,
is the
this
power
video, I saw this on
of
the internet the
foresight.
other
So if
day.
they don't see
Look at
danger
this
coming,
dumb
or
pigeon,
worse,
bro.
don't recognize it, they just get bullied.
The
But
falcon's
pigeons
like,
have
oh my God, what you
340
doing
vision
here?
and can even see
Quick
wavelengths
snack,
of light
bro.
invisible to us. They're so busted that the U.S. Navy once upon a
Don't
time
touch the
tried using
pigeon,
the chicken
man.
of the city to conduct search and rescue missions out in the ocean.
true.
Basically, they trained a couple pigeons to recognize random red or orange objects, you know, the colors you'd expect from a life jacket, and then press, or
Oh.
more like peck, on a switch on site. In test runs, the pigeons noticed the target 90% of the time,
Yo.
completely outclassing the human rescue crew, who just barely pulled off 40%.
Whoa,
And there's the fact that the
that's
pigeons could remain
wild.
vigilant for hours without falling off. Unfortunately, the experiment was cut short due to budget cuts, and every pigeon involved getting killed during a crash landing.
Damn.
But even this experiment showcased another pigeon
That
flex.
ugly though.
They're way smarter than they get credit for. They probably would if they could talk like parrots or ravens,
Who's a good
but even with a
boy?
brain in the weight class of a walnut, pigeons can still surprise
I
us.
love crows and
Trained
ravens,
pigeons
bro.
can actually
Love
pass the
them.
mirror
They're great.
test, the same one most dogs and cats fail. In 1995, a
clueless.
study found that pigeons could be taught to tell the difference between a Picasso painting and Monet. I'm not gonna lie to you, I
Wow.
myself can't do that. To a similar beat, pigeons could be trained to tell apart malignant breast tumors from the benign. And yeah, we're still
Damn.
talking about a bird here. A German study in 1990
wild.
found that the avian overachievers could successfully memorize 725 different black and white patterns and correctly identify the 100 patterns associated with a reward. Pigeons also have an ability to count that rivals primates. Bro, tell me why folks found out that the Bane of Broadway can read. So what scientists did, right? They taught these pigeons a bunch
They
of
can
words. and
read
they showed
it?
a real word on screen or a misspelt one to go with a star. If
Wow.
it was an actual word like, for example, dog, they had to peck at the word. And if it was some nonsense like ugged, the rules
Bro,
were
it's
to peck at the
turning.
star. Get it right and they'd win food.
Hey.
Tell me why the feathery
Hey.
salt on your windshield
That
actually did
meme-
better than
this
the
meme of this
baboons that took the same
baboon
test.
is
It was
amazing,
at this
bro.
moment I went from highly impressed to low-key concerned with how smart pigeons are. There's like 5 million of them in NYC. We're cooked if they turn on us. Here's a couple other
True.
pigeon facts I picked up. That thing they'll do where they'll fly around in a circle as a synchronized group, that has a name, and it's called murmuration. The best theory for why they do this
This
as
is
a
not
predator
pigeons, this
response,
is in
because
Africa,
their
bro,
honest to
that's
God best defense
beautiful.
is just making
That's
it harder to
millions
single
of
out.
birds together,
That
bro.
weird, crusty-looking bump on their beaks is called the operculum, and it's really only there to
It
cover
is
the
crusty,
nostrils.
bro.
And like a middle-aged hairline, it slowly starts to disappear as they get older. Pigeons are also monogamous, and one of the minority of birds that take till
Wow.
death seriously. That's
Did not
probably
know
why you've
that.
never seen a baby pigeon. Parents supervise them virtually 24/7 until they look like the urbanite we're used to. Pigeons are as loyal as birds get.
Damn.
So it's no surprise they've had success in the military. This is Cher Ami, one of the
Yeah, I
many
know this
homing
story.
pigeons
He-
used by
he
the
told this
US
story in
during
the previous
World War
video.
I.
Amazing.
And in 1918, over 500
Pigeon got
men
shot,
pinned
was
behind
blind
enemy
on
lines
one
with no
eye,
food, water,
barely,
or
he
ammunition.
only had one
Their
leg,
only option was
and
releasing
still made
carrier
it, bro, and
pigeons
saved
begging
the
for support, but
Englishman.
surrounding Germans peeped game and started
Stud,
lighting
bro.
up any pigeon that tried.
Stud pigeon.
And that included
Stud.
Cher Ami, who got shot out of the air, but like a goddamn phoenix managed to get back up. Against every force of nature, the plucky pigeon made it back to base, traveling
That's
a
my
smooth
dog, bro.
25 miles in 25 minutes to deliver the message
pigeon.
that would end up saving the remaining 194 men.
Damn.
He did it half blind with a
That's
bullet
a
wound and
stud,
a leg
bro.
hanging on by a literal thread.
That's a
A
hero,
bird whose
a
name
war
was my
hero.
dear friend past tense later
Come
the
on,
next
bro.
year, but would be
Shout
forever
out to the pigeon.
immortalized in the Smithsonian as the MVP of the 77th Infantry.
He was, bro.
G.I. Joe was a homing pigeon who
That's a
came
great
in
name
clutch
for a
when he
pigeon.
delivered a message calling off an airstrike of a village that the British had already regained control of from the
Oh.
Germans. If G.I. Joe didn't basically score at the buzzer, at least 1,000 soldiers would have been turned into ashes.
Damn.
And then there was William of Orange, who traveled 250 miles in just over 4 hours to request air support after the radio sets had failed. Turned out he was
Under
the air
4
support.
hours.
William's carry job saved
Damn.
about 2,000 men.
Wow.
He would be one of the 32
Shout
pigeons
out,
to
bro.
earn the Dickin Award, which is
Deservedly
basically like a
so.
finals MVP but for animals.
Damn.
Somehow pigeons went from war heroes to people actively trying to wipe them
That's
out.
fucking
We
daunting.
really stayed doing our troops wrong. But I think it's safe to say, I was wrong. I was not familiar with their game.
Great meme
You won't
as well.
catch me moving like this guy,
No,
but I'll
no.
definitely respect them.
That's disgusting.
Just from a reasonable distance.
Yep.
And that's the most character development you're gonna get.
Damn.
Drink water, hug your loved, tell the
Hey,
pigeon you
hey,
appreciate them.
hey,
And I'm
hey.
gonna see y'all in the next one.
Let's go. So yeah, man, I learned a lot. Another great video by Casual Geographic. I did not know that pigeons were that smart, bro. And we basically ruined them, which is sad. We abandoned the pigeon, bro. Now, will I ever hold one? No, because I'm not a dum-dum. But I respect pigeon, bro. I see pigeon on street, bro. I'm like, yeah, bro, saluting that. Shout out to you, my boy. Thank you so much for watching the video, man. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And hopefully we had a phenomenal weekend. I didn't. My Chiefs lost to the Packers, bro. It is what it is. I hope you had a great weekend. Before you go, I just gotta tell you, I hope you have a phenomenal week, man. You deserve it. Go after your dreams. Don't quit. And I cannot wait to see your progress this week, man. You got it. Go after it, bro. But before we go, don't forget that we end videos here on the channel, bro. Come on, keep God first as always. Drink water, go tell somebody who loves them, and if you're here, I know what to do, man. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. My name is Gonzii.